2-hour drive from Cusco takes us high up into the Lares Valley, where efforts are being made to replenish a part of the Andes that over the years has been severely damaged by deforestation. Paul Cripps, founder of Amazonas Explorers, is passionate about reinvigorating this landscape, and in partnership with Peruvian reforestation charity Ecologi, he hopes to plant 1 million trees by 2020.
Ecologi organised with it. They work with about 23 different communities in and around the Lares Valley. They contact a community and say, on this day we're going to plant this number of trees, and they do what's called a fina, which is basically they call all the people together, and it's not obligatory, but most people come. We all turn up. Normally we go along as well to help, and there'll be 120, 150 local people from the community. The trees will be there. The Ecologi will provide like a truckload of trees. We're now actually they've got their own nursery actually in the Lares Valley, so we purchase all the trees from the local community there, which is so as much money goes back into local communities.
At 4,500 metres, and with the help of a local villager, Paul escorted us and fellow LATA members Claire and Tony deeper into the Vilcanata mountain range to show us firsthand the effects of deforestation.
If you zoom in over there, you can see bits of forest, like little chunks and things. And at some stage, and talking to our friend here, Julian, they were complete forests. But the locals, for the needing of firewood, and you can see there's not a lot of wood on these things, have ended up chopping it down. So it's ended up with lots of little pieces. And that's one of the problems where they're trying to regrow it into a bigger area, because the small areas can't support the bird life and the native species that live up here. And so this project is to try and do this whole area here, and that's something that the LATA Foundation they've actually invested in 20,000 trees, and they'll be planting. It's not actually in this area; it's in just over that hill somewhere, about 3 days hike.
The importance of reintroducing native plant species into this desolate landscape is addressed in this scheme, as it is these trees that are adaptable to this harsh climate and terrain.
We did a plantation up in Patacancha, which is just near Wiyog, and we were digging, and it's look at this. And I remember digging holes and going, this is just, it's like shale. And asking Goyo and stuff, going, I'm putting this tree in, is it going to work? And he's like, yeah, it's absolutely perfect. And I'm like, don't you need earth?
Hard to see where the nutrients.
And apparently you don't. I mean, they're incredibly hardy, these trees, and one thing you can do is, and they're doing now, is rather than bringing in small plants, seedlings, is you can break off branches if you do it properly, and you replant, you graft, and so they're trying to now get the trees that they've used, that they've replanted. They got to a certain age, and they're obviously used to that climate. They're acclimatized, and use those for the next set of replantation, which is also it's the cheapest way of doing it as well. So this one here is working slightly, and then the idea will eventually they'll then be able to use those instead of bringing in new fresh plantations. They'll be able to use the actual trees from here to replant their own forest. There's going to be some major climate changes in the Andes, and the Andes has been identified as one of the most problematic areas. And we saw yesterday that the glaciers are in serious retreat, and the local people are asking us, what's going on, and they notice that their watersheds are drying out. There's not as much water around. Talking with scientists and people who plant trees, the theory is that if we can plant literally 1 million trees, if we can plant more, we can actually create literally microclimates, which will then protect the sources of the water and the watersheds, and that could really have a major effect on how the communities are going to be able to continue to living. I think what we're doing is, and this is one of the reasons why I got involved in it, was I've been working in the Andes for 22 years now, making money out of the Andes and having a great time here. And it's time for us to realise that we need to put something back into the Andes, and certainly the Incas in their history, they were very aware of this, and they used to plant trees. Unfortunately, when the conquest came and the Spanish took over, sadly trees, lots of areas of trees were just completely cut down for firewood, for building altars, for just and there was this mass deforestation, and it's time for us to actually try and say, hold on a minute, if we want to live in the Andes and make our living out of the Andes, we need to reinvest in the Andes, and that's what I'm doing by planting trees.